Good morning and welcome to Smashy Business Daily. I'm Lubna Hamdan.
I'm Richard Fitzgerald.
And today we're going to talk about Dubai launching a program to help retired citizens in another move to support Emiratis. Abu Dhabi's Pure Health is acquiring more companies in Saudi Arabia, this time in the medical city. TikTok owner ByteDance fell behind on artificial intelligence, according to its CEO. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Ghami or wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to Smashy TV.
How are you finding this? I was away for the last few days. I watched the show, but this is kind of week 2 of the Smashy Business Daily.
Honestly, I'm loving it. It's exciting. It's nice. It's fun. It's unexpected that I'm enjoying it this much.
Good. Yeah, it's very good. You know, we want to do this show as a podcast, but it's a live morning show as well. And then we obviously have the newsletter and all the social channels and vertical video. And, you know, in our view, podcasts, it's the wrong word for them. They replace TV shows. You know, like if you're selling a book in the US, you used to go on a TV show. Now you go on the huge, big podcasts.
Yeah. And
similarly, like newsletters have replaced websites, which replaced magazines. Yeah. So just the evolution of media is fascinating. We were messing around with the mics and we were wondering, like, are we late? Are we live? And it brought what came to mind was this show on Apple TV called The Morning Show, which Reese Witherspoon's company, Hello Sunshine, a really modern, purpose-driven female empowerment company. They've got book clubs, they've got loads of stuff. But on that show, it's done in the TV era, but there's so many things that you can learn from it. But yeah,
absolutely. She is, in real life, actually such a smart businesswoman, isn't she? I don't know if you know about her publishing company and the books and all of that. So yeah, it's crazy that in parallel, in real life, she actually does do
all
something similar in the publishing industry.
That group, the Hello Sunshine group, sold for close to $1 billion to Candle Media. So she's very, very smart.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she looks also very cute, but she is very fierce. Small but fierce.
Yeah.
Richard, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on retirement? I'm not hinting at anything.
I think it's a made-up thing. Like what obviously there's some labor law requirements around retirement, but I fundamentally disagree with them. Ali says, I just don't believe in retirement. I never want to retire. And it's so funny, Lubna, whenever you get those expat financial advice companies, sometimes I get triggered by them, like, oh, what are you doing for retirement? I'm not. It's not that I don't believe in saving for a rainy day, but like, I'm like, what? Like, stop working? Like, it's almost like, it's like when people get married and have a kid and give up on their dreams and stuff. It's like, no, like at 65, I have another 30 years.
Yeah.
Why stop me at,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even going to ask you your thoughts on marriage and kids, Richard. I'm not even going to go there.
You can do everything. You can semi-retire, but, there are some operators who run businesses while they're 90, and longevity is really important to me, and health is a part of that, but like I would love to run this business when I'm 90.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, I was speaking to the CEO of Stars Play, the streaming service, Maz Sheikh, and he was telling me that he doesn't want to retire because he saw his dad grow older so much faster, so much quicker when he retired. A lot of people say this,
right?
Yeah, I just feel like it keeps you young, it keeps you excited, it keeps you, albeit stressed, but still, keeps your brain working, right?
Yeah, there's in football at the moment, there's a story about the manager of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, and after sort of 9 years, I think, at Liverpool, he's retired. He's quitting at the end of the season. And the reason he gave was that he's tired and he'll take a break for a year and he'll come back. And it got me thinking about, it's all well and good saying I won't retire, whatever, but work can be stressful, right? And I think some of those jobs, some of those real pressure cooker jobs, it's why CEOs at public listed companies do have a tenure, and it's why presidents have a tenure as well in certain countries. But I think there is a pressure cooker element to it. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, if a club doesn't have as much pressure, you can probably do it for longer. But if you're in the eye of the storm for so long, it's very hard to sustain.
Absolutely.
Like, it can put a lot of pressure on you. So the people who run public listed companies for 15, 20 years, and so you really admire them even more,
Yeah.
and leaders of this region. And His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, like, you know, there's a book called Sheikh CEO, right, which talks about how he runs the UAE, and he's been doing it for so long that you know, that's running a country, but also running a sort of a business.
A business, yeah. Really. Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, Richard, what do you do to relax? Because I feel like you read the news to relax.
What's wrong with that? You produce it. Do you not want to relax people with your stories, Lumna? I don't think so.
I do. You know what? I stopped listening to music in the car. I just listen to news shows every single day. Either news shows or podcasts.
Yeah.
It's just better for you. I don't know. I feel like music doesn't quite cut it for me anymore. You sleep to relax?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah? Okay.
No, but look...
like 4 hours or...
Yeah, I try. I don't encourage that really, but sometimes, yeah. Anyway, this week's been a bit tough with travel and all, but like, no, I think everyone has different ways, different outlets, you know. Some people watch mindless numbing shows and stuff like that, which is great, you know, each to their own. I do as well in Arabic sometimes, but...
Oh, really? Do you understand Arabic?
Yeah, فاهم شوي.
Oh, تفهم شوية عربي. Oh, wow. Okay, nice.
but like some of that is learning as well. But no, everyone has their own thing. Like I do sport and stuff like that. But you know, I think going back to the retirement part of it, like having that balance is important, isn't it?
Yeah, and, absolutely.
Yeah, it's important.
I mean, going back to retirement, right? Dubai is doing so much for its citizens, and I guess Dubai agrees with you that people perhaps shouldn't retire so early. And it launched a program to help retired citizens get back into work. It's offering them financial incentives, and it believes in their talent to help with the city's development, which I think is quite beautiful because, this is going to sound bad, but there is wisdom in older age. And I mean that in the best way possible. So I think it's great. The program will also provide them with a financial backing for future projects, a 5-year exemption from service fees, and priority consideration for government projects. So it's nice to, and it's also encouraged them to earn additional income to supplement their pensions.
Is that people who've retired because of age? What's the age for Emiratis to retire? 65 or 60?
I believe it starts at 60.
And so it's those people that they want to bring back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like if I retire because I'm 30, like it's the people who pass the threshold that they can re-enter.
Yes.
Is this from MOHRI, the Ministry of Resource and Emiratization, Human Resource? Because they're so active, and we've met the minister a couple of times, and they really engage with media, but also the initiatives that they put out. Sometimes you can see what they're doing, and sometimes they change really fast. They pull things back and they launch things, but it's really important to have such a dynamic ministry to look at all these things and to put in initiatives in place, whether it's for retirement or, there was something last week about, what's the right word, diversity, and they were going to have different percentages of nationalities, and they also have quotas at the moment. Each company, even SMEs now, have to hire Emiratis and things like that. But all their initiatives are well intended, I guess.
Absolutely, and that just a couple of weeks ago, I think it was last week, perhaps, they want to help Emiratis get married, but also cut down on the divorce rate, right? So they're offering them free. They're paying for the weddings, and then they're offering them free marriage counseling. They're really looking after Emirati citizens and trying to improve their lives. So.
Yeah, it goes back to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed saying that he wants people to have a great life now, not for the future. The ones who live now, and I think I think that makes you love your country even more. If that's been done for you and the country of the time,
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of loving your country more, Abu Dhabi is loving investing in Saudi.
Okay.
So Pure Health has acquired a 25% stake in Saudi medical city Sheikh Bout. It acquired it for $150 million. It was actually Mayo Clinic's stake. And it's just one of those, one of a couple of deals. So last year, Abu Dhabi National Insurance Company acquired a 51% majority stake in a Saudi insurance company called the Alliance Saudi Franzi Cooperative Insurance Company, pretty long name, which is a joint stock company, which is listed in the kingdom. And then in 2021, Mubadala, the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, also acquired a 60% stake in health provider United Eastern Medical Services, which operates in both Saudi and the UAE. So I think it's interesting, isn't it, that Abu Dhabi is investing in Saudi.
Yeah, and all of those examples you gave, Lubna, are in the wider sort of health space, insurance, health, and things like that. It is fascinating. Pure Health, I think, are the ones that went public last year. They've got a few other Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinics under them. So it'd be interesting to know that because a lot of these IPOs are oversubscribed and they put cash in the coffers of the companies, so that 150 million might be as a result of the cash that they had from their listing.
Right.
But yeah, I think it is fascinating. Like at some level, what's the word when you say countries want to only own what's in their country? The French are great at it. What's the word? There's a word for it anyway, that they want to own their own airlines and their own things like that. But then what we see, and then there's also the thinking that this region, the cities and the countries, only really want their companies to grow. But I think this is really important because the cross-country investment at a state level or at a public listed company level is just really good for regional integration and cross-trade. And for the right, why Europe rose is because there was cross-border trade under the EU, and what we're getting at is like indirect versions of all that.
Absolutely. You know what? Fadi Ghandour just said this a couple of weeks ago. He said there is competition between the UAE and Saudi, but there's nothing wrong with it because it's healthy competition. And I think it's great for them to team up on on these joint ventures.
Yeah, and I think some of these sectors might appear unsexy, but they're drivers. Like insurance is such a key pillar in like Warren Buffett built his whole thing on Geico Insurance. Like that's understanding these businesses is really smart investments. And it sounds like a very smart investment by Pure Health.
You know what? I met up with a friend yesterday who owns a storage business. And I was like, why storage? And then he said, I love boring. He said, boring is good. What's wrong with boring? So yeah, insurance sounds boring, but that's where the money is, right?
Definitely.
Luckily, we're not in the boring industry, are we, Richard?
No, I don't think so. It moves faster than insurance for sure, media.
But I wanted to ask you, so you were in Riyadh. How was it? Tell me, what was it like? What is the atmosphere there? It must be really exciting. I haven't been to Saudi in a while.
Yeah. I go quite regularly. We have Augustus Media Saudi set up there since 2017. We were with Astra Labs. They had a Ford 600 event, and we were the first company they assisted there in 2019. We were actually there before, and they've helped 600 companies set up in the last 4.5 years. Everything about Saudi and Riyadh, we see it in the media, we see the giga projects, but on the ground, it's fast paced. It is very domestic. I always think of Saudi as a domestic story, not an international story. And as someone who doesn't fully speak Arabic, it is a little bit difficult to navigate. But meetings are quite accessible. There's a lot of people there at a meeting with a lawyer and a meeting with so there's an entity that does cybersecurity, and they have a union at Etihad with 4 of the companies, and they do 11 big events. And we had a meeting about Leap Conference, which inshallah Smashy Business Daily will be streaming from the floor there in the first week of March. It's
Inshallah.
180,000 people attended event. They've got another subset of that now, all about AI. It's a huge event, and it's only in its 3rd year. So, those type of things are happening. We have a good program, good partnership with the Ignite program, which is for the content sector. But there's so much happening, and you can feel it in the airports. Before it was like buses over, consultants in suits, but now, my kind of discerning look around is that there's individual, more creative people hopping on flights and things like that. And the sector is just diversing. The sectors and the people on the ground is just evolving all the time.
You know what? That's really exciting. We're going to do our third story now. And then I'm going to ask you more. I'm going to pick your brains, okay? We don't have a guest today. So just think of yourself as the guest for a little while. TikTok owner ByteDance. The CEO of ByteDance, which owns TikTok, he said in a staff meeting that the company was late to the party when it came to implementing AI and making the most of it. He's not alone. We have already seen Alibaba's Jack Ma and JD.com's Richard talk about similar organizational issues. When you started Love in Dubai, it was obviously different to other publications. People still love to hate on it, but it's doing really well, so you get the last laugh. You did it anyway. It was different, it was new, and it was ahead of its time, right? Any advice, or I guess my question is, why did you take that risk? Tell me a little bit more. I'm curious because it is related to this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that comment, and I think, it's funny how these things are positioned in the media, because he says it in a staff meeting, and then it comes out. I think that's intended.
Yeah, it was posted on the company's official WeChat account.
Yeah. But, I think first of all, when I see something like that, I think it's a very good leadership, because I think he is showing a weakness, but he's also showing a priority and a focus. It's like when TikTok was rising, Mark Zuckerberg said, well, this is a threat, and we need to double. Like if you've got a competition on the horizon, whether it's a company or a development in the industry, an innovation, you need to be awake to it. And sure, these things move fast, as we were just joking about in media, but you can also grab onto it. And I think I remember I was working in the media industry and social media, and I always felt we were doing real-time publishing for clients. So creating a media brand just felt like a social media client thing that I just didn't need approvals for.
Right.
With clients, you always had to get approvals to post on their pages, but with Love in Dubai, we didn't. Maybe indirectly afterwards. But so I think with media, I just thought that there was such an opportunity, and I remember saying it to people in that agency at the time. What's this category like with ad spend? And they said it's saturated. And I was like, cool, who's there? And they listed out some companies, and I was like, yeah, but they're not really doing it. And some of the competitors, perceived competitors in the digital publishing space, were doing about 10 pieces of digital content a week. From day one, Lubna, we did 10 a day. We did 14 hours a day from the 1st of September 2015. We haven't stopped.
Wow.
And it's just incessant, and it changes over time, but it's just understanding that you can lean into social media platforms, and, it's always a risk, because if you lean into them too much, then if we lean into TikTok too much and they change something, and you built your audience and your business there. So we've always tried to build IP and build brand, and our sort of barometer or asset test is, I always kind of think of this. If I asked 10 people on the street in Dubai or in the malls, would 9 of them have heard of Love in Dubai? And, when our sales team go to agencies and go to clients, or our marketing team, and the receptionist gets excited that Love in Dubai is here, then I know that it's felt amongst the audience, irrespective of if clients decide to invest in you. And that, going back to your question about Saudi, that's why we were 6 years before the publishing companies of UAE. We were there in 2017.
Yeah.
Some are entering now.
Exactly.
And they were 15 years before us here. And the reason why we did that is because I knew that if the person on the street or in the mall or wherever in Riyadh or in Saudi hasn't heard of our brands, then we don't have a product.
Right.
You can say you're a regional title all day, and you can sell from UAE all day, and you can have clients who invest in you, but if someone isn't consuming your content on the ground in the day, and if they haven't heard of, say, Ming Kessler's social media or a hit show on Snapchat, then we don't have anything that's monetizable. Definitely. So the investment in the local talent there, the people on the ground, and going before there was even licenses, being the first foreign-owned media company in Saudi Arabia in 2017 ever, right, is because of that point. And I think, that's important, right? So, the innovations that change along the way, I think the problem with us and with media is that we're swimming against two tides. We're against the platforms like TikTok and Facebook, and also the creator economy.
Yeah.
And you either, if you're not one of them, then what are you? And if you're in the middle, then you have to be agile. Like swimming against the current, you have to be agile, right? So as we grow,
And you swim, right?
Yeah.
You actually swim as well. You're a swimmer. Okay.
Yeah, but I do triathlon, but like, so I do, yeah, but the analogy kind of is about being agile, and that requires change management, and sometimes, like this show, Masalan, like for example, this was a live stream a few years ago, right? It's live, but we have to go, okay, well, what's our view on media now? And then how does AI play into it? And how do you, like this guy, communicate to your team and go, like a wake-up call is like, and then how do you prioritize? I remember when Facebook went public in 2012, 2013, their share price dropped, I think from 30, 40 bucks down to 10, 11 or less than 20.
Yeah.
And the reason they did is because investors looked at their current revenue, and zero revenue was coming from mobile, right? And Zuckerberg hadn't turned the ads on in the mobile, because the ads up until then were on the right-hand side of the desktop, and he hadn't introduced a feed ad yet. So he hadn't interrupted that precious space because he hadn't reached 1 billion users. And that was his thing for Instagram. And watch the ads come to WhatsApp now. But like, because of this user threshold, and they're trying to do the same with Threads. So when he did that, when he put the ads into the feed, it wasn't like, hey, ads team. He basically said, mobile first company. So he went back to the developers and he was like, that code that you were doing on the HTML5 or whatever you were building on the desktop for the Facebook app, I want you to rip that up. I want you to code first on the mobile app.
Right.
So he literally sort of went mobile, like fully mobile first.
Yeah.
And we're grappling with a bit of that now. Like websites are dying, right?
Definitely.
And I haven't pulled the I haven't pulled the plug yet on our writers, but they should know it's coming. That we will be doing podcasts as website, a newsletter as website, and audio. Like the team are giving feedback at the moment, and they're saying, "Oh, the Love in Dubai show is good on Instagram Live." I'm like, "Cool, it's a podcast, though."
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
And so you have to think of it. And a podcast is a word. The connotations around that need to change. And this is the same with AI and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? When I first joined, it was difficult for me to accept the idea that I'm not going to be writing articles on a website anymore. It's all going to be, on social media, social posts. But you just got to do what you got to do, right? And I am actually really enjoying it right now.
Yeah, I think the articles that you do are on social posts, but they're also in the newsletter, and those newsletters will have a link that people can share.
Yeah.
It's just understanding consumption and behavior and trends, and
and not being set in your ways, I think, right? You do have to just do what you have to do at the end of the day without overthinking it and being sensitive to things. Right?
Yeah, I think the baseline is that you are a journalist and you create content, but how people consume that content is a bit liquid, and it's a bit fluid.
Yeah. Okay, last question. I think a lot of people are curious about this. Does it bother you that people hate on Love in Dubai?
No. I'm not even going to defend Love in Dubai and say they don't hate us. No, it doesn't bother me. Should it bother me?
No, not at all. I think, do you enjoy it sometimes?
No, I don't get off on...
Haters are fans as well, right?
What, sorry?
Haters are
yeah,
fans.
I don't enjoy it. I think, though, that there's the brand part of Love in Dubai, and then there's the service part of local news. And if you were really protective of your brand, then sometimes you wouldn't do news. I remember seeing some influencers or content creators take down content during sensitive times because they'll get backlash.
Yeah.
We would never do that because we're a public service. Like it's like water. It's a utility. News is there. It's free. And there is an element of that. It's regulated and it's under the Media Regulatory Office, and it's free. But so there's an element of like, if you're a brand like an FMCG or an automotive, like say Starbucks at the moment, which is a topic, they've got a whole PR company working on crisis management global of every message has to be every message. When Disney launched in the region,
they're not doing that well, are they?
No, they're not doing that well, but they're not doing that bad. If you look there, where are the comments? Because they're not posting, because they turn off the comments.
Yeah.
We don't do that. I clarify that. We turn off comments when it's inciting hate in the society, but we don't do it to protect our brand. And when Disney Plus launched in the region, they got a lot of backlash over LGBTQ content.
Yeah.
Because, you know, their strategy was to push that and, you know, internationally. And they turned off all the comments because, you know, and I just think, hey, you're an entertainment company, you're a media company, you know, and I think while Disney Plus isn't local news, there is an element of, are you on social media or are you not? And you know, I could talk about that. I appreciate, you know, you're doing your thing, Lubna. You're asking questions, and we would love to talk about TikTok. But like, you know, I don't know. Like, I think people blow hot and cold with stuff. Like, as I said, like, you know, if 9 out of 10 people, and if the receptionist is excited that they see Love in Dubai, I don't think everyone hates Love in Dubai. I think people get triggered on comments and social media, and I think, you know, all the heads of these platforms were up in the Senate yesterday, Linda Yaccarino, Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg apologized to parents for the harmful content, what it's done to kids, right? So I think they have a lot more to be accountable for, and to give companies like Love in Dubai the protective tools to reduce some of this hate speech and things like that. So I would blame them rather than our positive feel good, bringing the joyful community stories to the city every day.
That's a great answer. Honestly, that's a great answer. I could do this all day. I could ask you so many. I'm going easy on you, by the way. Yeah.
Because that was easy.
Not asking you. That was easy. Richard,
right.
Thank you so much for that. Subscribe to Smashy TV. That's where you can watch the show. We're also going to put snippets of it on social media. Follow us everywhere, and subscribe to the newsletter, and listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Anghami, Spotify, Apple. We are everywhere, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.